Ladies and gentlemen, we're live on this emergency Sunday broadcast. This is a briefing to President Trump, to Congress, the American people, and the people of the world. We're facing 21st century warfare with major nations like China, conglomerates like the EU, and major banks arrogantly attempting to take over the United States and block President Trump's attempt to restore the republic and power over our country and our government by the American people. I'll be live in about 25 minutes at Infowars.com/show and over 200 radio stations, over 300 TV stations, and over 100 cable stations. But right now I'm doing this emergency alert so that people understand we've done the research. I've had a top D.C. law firm and other research groups confirm, and we broke the fact that they were planning an internet takeover ahead of the election, and that's why I was deplatformed starting a week and a half ago from more than almost 30 million subscribers, from iTunes to Facebook to YouTube and Google. So we're going to be looking at all of this here in just a moment. First, I want to thank the president for being stalwart in understanding this and coming out in defense of free speech yesterday. I want to thank Tucker Carlson, Matt Drudge, and many others, and, of course, the listeners and viewers. Without you, we wouldn't even have a fighting chance here at NewsWars.com and Infowars.com. But this fight is not about us. It's about all of us, and the fact that the enemy, that's the globalists, it's the special interests that want to overthrow our country, are absolutely at war with the truth and the president and the American people. So let me give the president this briefing right now. Some of this information has never been released, but I'm going to go to it right now, ladies and gentlemen. First article in the briefing to the president and the people. Federal judge rules Trump's Twitter account is public domain, public forum, public square, that the tech giants argue that they are monopolies, but can be monopolies because they operate as the public square. So they've cheated that social compact. They've broken that social contract, and they're engaged in massive censorship. So the president can't keep trolls and bots from attacking him and lying about him, but Twitter itself and Facebook and Google, they can all censor the president all they want. This is a form of contract combination conspiracy to restrain trade right out of the Sherman Antitrust Act. Now, this is confidential information, attorney-client privilege communication, but I've blacked out the law firm and the group. And this is going to be part of a larger plan forward to the president in the next 2 days. You notice that's August 9th, detailing Senator Warner and major corporations meeting in secret and in public to plan for the internet takeover and threatening the tech giants that if they didn't start purging conservatives ahead of the election illegally, that's a massive campaign contribution that he forced them to give, that they would be shut down once the Democrats, quote, win control of the Congress, they believe, coming up in the midterms, just 2 months, 2.5 months away, 80 days away to be precise. So, document cam shot, please. This report here, part of what's going to be going to the president, details all of this. Need to show government action. Federal government. Chris Murphy saying shut down all conservatives, not just Alex Jones. The memo being circulated secretly. Weeks before they then shut down InfoWars as the opening salvo. Memo for 9 days in advance of the termination of InfoWars services. Congressional hearings all coordinated with it. Chinese government involved with major groups like Google and Apple moving to communist China and helping set up censorship there and unifying a censorship system by fiat. Because again, this is the key, Mr. President. We're libertarians, we're constitutionalists, we're free marketeurs. But as you know, if China has a 100% tariff or Canada has a 280% tariff, whether it's cars or dairy, it's a fantasy land to say, oh, we're free market like the Heritage Foundation says, and not fight back against that because it shuts us down by design. That was the plan, to sell off America. And you're like the Deus Ex showing up at the last moment, like the Millennium Falcon at the Death Star in episode 4 to stop that. So they understand that. And so they're moving in with this now to block you and shut you down and shut everybody's free speech down. And they know you're a free speech guy, so you're leaving the web alone. Well, China, the EU, with its fines against these tech giants in the tens of billions, Hollywood bullying, mainstream media, New York Times, Washington Post, CNN with no viewers. They're a distraction. They're just disruptors, but they're bullying of sponsors and infrastructure to take all of us off, including you, sir, that I'll detail in a moment, is a form of serious racketeering that sits within the Sherman Antitrust Act, which was an antecedent of that as well. So you've got the press involved in all of this in the racketeering. You've got California and federal rulings and the fundamental rulings to the right to social networking and the different rulings on that. And again, we're going to be posting a full detailed report to the president and the world in the next few days. And it goes through all the examples, antitrust violations. And it details how that's being operated on its face because they're engaged in pure war. They don't care now. The New York Times, Washington Post are criminal racketeering groups involved in harassing, bullying. We've even gotten people that have recorded them when they call up and say, we'll give you a full page thing, how great you are if you say bad stuff about Alex Jones. If you don't, we're going to destroy you. And they're shaking and nervous on the phone when they say it. So they've been given orders to carry out crime. Refusal to deal, breach of implied covenant and good faith dealing, interference with current prospective economic relations and business advantage, breach of contract. But again, the lawyers, and not just one firm, 4 different firms I've been working with, top ones in the country, bipartisan, say they've never seen anything like this, and it signifies they don't intend to have a country soon. There won't be any due process soon. They intend to rip out the government, have staged phony elections after they've removed this American rebellion to their takeovers. So you noticed that this report was from weeks ago. Now you see it's all happening. Senate Democrats are circulating plans for government takeover of the internet. That is a Reason report with the actual documents. Continuing, timeline. Virginia Democrat Mark Warner, surprise force behind Masters of the Universe crackdown on free speech. This Breitbart article is the best out there with their top researchers in telecommunications, you name it. They document how Warner promised to take over the techs and regulate them and nationalize them. When they take over, they believe, if they don't shut down every conservative, every libertarian, every Christian, every pro-Trump person, this is the definition of antitrust. This is the definition of monopoly and oligopoly and cartel. This is the definition of criminal activity and censorship and bullying and racketeering. Senator Mark Warner, the mastermind behind weaponizing U.S. tech giant, Zero Hedge. Read all these. CNN, other news outlets accused of planning to smear Manafort jury. No one has ever heard of them saying, give us their names, give us their addresses ahead of the ruling. Unbelievable tampering. They're all in. They've decided to do a bum rush. Journalists fire back at Twitter CEO about role in press and countering conspiracy theories. NBC News calls for me to be shut down. The reason this is important, now the president's looking at this, they say no one's shutting anybody down. The president's insane. After hundreds of thousands of articles literally lying about me and banning conservatives the last 2 weeks, they now say you're insane, none of it's happening. So I'll show you that. Mark Warner threatens, and it goes on. Survival of our democracy depends on banning sites, says Senator Murphy. InfoWars is only the start. Ban all conservatives. Now, here comes Trump to this crescendo of disinformation, and here he responds after incredible bombardments of evil. And he says, social media firms are discriminating against conservatives, claims the New York Times. Then, after the content from Mr. Jones's website, InfoWars, was removed, he issued a plea to Trump. And it goes on. I say the Russians are a red herring. The Chinese are involved in the takeover. As your advisors tell you, they're censoring everybody. Please take action. So they show how the tweets are similar. Of course they're similar. It's not just me talking to Trump. He sees it. I'm going to leave it alone at that point. But they have this great horror that I'm able and others are able and patriots are able. You think it's just me? Good luck. With the president. All these articles are posted to Infowars.com. And here are the tweets by the president. Social media is totally discriminating against Republican conservative voices, speaking loudly and clearly for the Trump administration. We won't let that happen. They are closing down the opinions of many people on the right, while at the same time doing nothing to others. They actually magnify them, Mr. President. Censorship is a dangerous thing and absolutely impossible to police. If you are weeding out fake news, there's nothing so fake as CNN and MSNBC. And yet, do I ask for their sick behavior to be removed? I get used to it and watch it with a grain of salt and don't watch it at all. Yes, Mr. President. And then they lie about you and say that you are censoring them by countering their lies. Too many voices are being destroyed, some good, some bad, and that cannot be allowed to happen. Who is making the choices? Because I can already tell you that too many mistakes are being made. Let everybody participate, good and bad. We will just have to figure it out. That's the First Amendment. All of the fools that are focusing on looking only at Russia should start looking in another direction, China. But in the end, if we are smart, tough, and well-prepared, we can get along with everyone. Yes, from a position of strength. So that's the facts of what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let me get into the real meat and potatoes of this right now. Here's when they start spinning it and saying it isn't true. I just showed you a bunch of articles saying censor Alex Jones, hip hip hooray, shut all the conservatives down from U.S. senators, their own documents, their own memos, their own incredibly authoritarian plan that they're ordering big tech to get in line with, saying, hey, we're taking over, coup or not, you better get ready. This is true mafia tactics. But now Trump's crazy. Nobody's doing this, daddy-o. President Trump accuses social media companies of totally discriminating against Republicans. Wow, as if it isn't true. Should read, Trump says it's wrong to bully conservatives and ban them. Trump blasts social media censorship, discriminating against Republican conservative voices. Trump tears into big tech over censoring InfoWars. Let everybody participate. That's Infowars.com is why it's an accurate statement. Continuing, Apple's InfoWars ban. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Apple's InfoWars ban alerted an industry overnight. Apple's InfoWars ban altered an industry overnight and dealt a significant blow to fake news. Anything nationalist, anything patriot, anything real. That's from the big Vox News that the leftists push. So, let's look at this. Vox says on the 6th, ban all conservatives starting with Alex Jones. Today they say Trump's insane. It doesn't exist. They think you have no memory. Like Dory from Finding Nemo. Trump buys into conspiracy that social media censors conservatives. Senator Murphy says ban all the conservatives, ban everyone. I'll get to a list of conservatives that were just banned today. We point out it's wrong. The president points out it's wrong, that it's a violation of campaign finance law, you name it. How do they respond? By saying, you silly rabbit. Nobody ever censored you. Trump buys into conspiracy theory that social media censors conservatives. Thousands of articles saying no one's censoring anybody when there's been thousands of articles saying censor everyone in the same publications. Is that not powerful? Continuing. Social media bans radio host Alex Jones for hate speech. Voice of America. An undefined, subjective thing, I'm banned. Again, that was just today, but leftists say nothing's happening. They've just had a 6-month campaign to have me deplatformed that's been successful to up to 30 million subscribers, but now they think you have no memory and say nobody censors in America. Nobody's meddling in the election. Trump's crazy. Now, this is just the last few days. Twitter subpoenas Proud Boys, hundreds of accounts, Gavin McInnes accounts ahead of Unite the Right rally. Facebook targets PragerU post. They looked at it. They have 5 million subscribers. 0 were reached. I looked it up. They have 3 million on one account, 2 million on another. So I'm correcting this. Is actually 5 million. So PragerU post reached 0 of 3 million followers. Videos deleted. The most professional, scholarly, Sunday school level, G-rated. They don't even tell them why they violate Facebook's rules. They don't even tell them, like they made it with me, that I was calling for violence and being mean to precious Muslims and that transsexuals shouldn't be able to go to public schools and elementary schools and book reading deals for elementary and preschool and tell little kids, you're not a boy or a girl, you can be whatever you want. That would be parents. I mean, and sometimes they're wearing lingerie outfits, man. Come on. So that's not being anti-transgender. That's being anti-sexualizing children, whatever you're heterosexual or whatever you are. Continuing. Facebook targets PragerU post, reaches 0 of 3 million. Videos deleted. First InfoWars. Now PragerU has found itself being targeted for censorship by Facebook with a total ban. Facebook gives no explanation for censoring conservative education site PragerU. Twitter verifies Sarah Young after saying whites are subhuman, they should be extincted like goblins that live in holes, and hundreds of other sick tweets. She gets verified and put on the board of the New York Times because they tell conservatives to sit down and die and roll over and die. But all the leftist hordes, they say, hey, say you're going to kill the president's wife or rape her or rape his son. Peter Fonda tweets he wants to rip Barron from his mother and put him in a cage with pedophiles and more. He says, burn down government facilities. But that's okay. He says word for word. They then lie and say, I say that, and ban me. I'm suspended on most of my Twitter accounts right now. Peter Fonda apologizes for vulgar remarks. Facebook censors PragerU, on and on and on. So it's happening to everyone. PragerU's problem was they had millions of views. PragerU was they were reaching young people. PragerU was censored and banned because they were successful. No one from their millions of subscribers on YouTube can see it unless you go to their site, to their page. Now they've got strikes, they're set to be shut down, videos deleted for hate speech. Because it's so gentlemanly, it's so effective. I'm live in 10 minutes at Infowars.com/show, but I'm going to leave you with this, and then I'll give commentary during the main show that's coming up, and you can go to Infowars.com/show. You can decide to subscribe to our free podcast. You can decide to sign up for the free newsletter at Infowars.com/show. You can decide with human energy to spread the word and get the free app on Infowars.com/app. It's already #1 on the App Store and on Google. How much does that anger these control freaks? They're already losing. And here's the big announcement from my sources. And I'll tell you about this when I come up live in 10 minutes at Infowars.com/show. So I didn't get to it in this briefing. The president doesn't need to be briefed on this. The president and others are preparing major action against the censors and against the tech monopolies that have stolen the public trust, broken the public trust, broken the social contract, and done incredibly evil things. So Tucker Carlson had an amazing professor on, and they broke down how the culture war was lost. The left has got all the newspapers, all the media, all the big banks, the foreign governments, the authoritarians, because they're not the left, they're authoritarians, and now they're involved in a giant crackdown on speech. We'll play about 5-6 minutes of this, then a short clip of even Bill Maher having to defend me. And then the guest wrongfully say, oh, but it's a private company. No, they advertise as a monopoly, as a public utility. Federal judges have ruled it, even against Trump. Trump gets it now. And so understand they've gone too far. But we're 80 days, 80 or 79 days out from November 8th. And you've got Warner running this saying, I'm going to be president in 2020. I will nationalize you. This is in his own memo. If you don't submit to me, that is terroristic, that is mafia, that is insane. But already the other thugs, like Brennan and others, are fighting with Clapper, and they're all leaving the sinking ship. We're winning, but we've got to understand this is happening, and the president's planning major action. Mike Cernovich is joining us coming up in the next 2-hour broadcast, Infowars.com/show. We are making our move against their censorship. We are the defenders of the Republic. They demonized me for 2 years ahead of this to deplatform me as the first domino to deplatform you. And now they're moving against everyone. They believe you're stupid. They believe you're weak. You are not. Great job to the crew. Now, this is only on 2 of our Twitter sub-accounts. Download this. Save this. Put it on YouTube. Put it on other platforms. Put it on Facebook. It's copyright free, free to air. Get this out however you can. The first day, they tried to shut people down on YouTube and give them strikes that were talking about me. People stood up to it. They backed off. Everybody's talking about me. Mark Dice has got 10 viral videos. It's okay to talk about InfoWars. It's okay to speak about it. Get it out there. They've gone too far. President Trump was a free marketer. He allowed a vacuum of power where the Chi-Coms and where the EU and where the Democrats and where Hollywood came in and muscled big tech. And some groups drove down their stock to muscle them into this position. Okay? And then big tech did what they said and started the purge. It's not gone well because you've stood up, and now Trump's ready to strike back right at the last moment, 2 minutes to midnight. But They don't have a right to do this. This is discriminatory, like not letting black people eat at the lunch counters or ride on the bus. This is evil. This is wrong. Patriots and conservatives and nationalists are being persecuted while the left tries to use internet giant systems to bully us. We're not like leftist followers. We weren't bullied. We mobilized. We took action. And Warner and others have gone too far, like McCain, and they're going to get in big trouble. They've committed campaign finance fraud. People have recorded them in these meetings where they had hundreds of people there and talked about this plan a month ago. You guys don't think people recorded it? You don't think people didn't record the New York Times knowing about the Catholic priest stuff and covering it up? You don't think people don't know? It's all going to come out. And no matter what you do, you're not going to stop us. Infowars.com, newswars.com. I'll be live in 5 minutes, but let's go out as we end this with Tucker Carlson for 5 minutes and then a little bit of Bill Maher, and then see me at Infowars.com/show in 5 minutes where I tell you how Trump's going to go after him. Get ready, ladies and gentlemen. The big tech giants are watching. Tim Cook's watching. Jack Dorsey's watching. Alphabet's watching. Eric Schmidt's watching. Hillary's watching. George Soros is watching. Are you watching? The White House is watching because we got the huevos to tell the truth. Great job.